Hey everyone, I'm Paul.
And I'm Sarah. Welcome to Bookkast.
Here at Bookkast, we bring you the bestsellers in minutes, and today we're diving into a really interesting one.
Yeah, this one's
It's called There Are Moms Way Worse Than You.
irrefutable proof that you are indeed a fantastic parent.
Yeah, that's a title.
It is, and it's by Glenn Boozan.
If you've ever felt like maybe you know you're not doing the best job as a parent, or maybe even like a terrible job, this is a good deep dive to listen to.
Absolutely. If you've ever had any of those like parental anxieties, the should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Am I messing my kid up?
Yeah.
Glenn Boozan kind of tackles that right out of the gate. He just says, all parents kind of have those anxieties.
Right, and he lists them out like right away, burping. You burping your kid correctly.
Are they getting enough
Screen time.
Yeah, how much screen time is too much screen time? Are you being too strict? Are you not being strict enough?
And he goes all the way to what if my kid gets into an accident and I, wasn't there to prevent it? Or what if I send my kid to the wrong preschool?
Right. Did I pick the right preschool for my kid? Are they going to, thrive in this environment? Am I setting them up for success or failure?
And it's all normal to think about these things, but he's got a way to kind of put this into perspective, and it's pretty funny, I think.
It is. It's very clever what he does is he says, okay, let's look at the animal kingdom, because there are some moms out there that really take the cake when it comes to questionable parenting techniques.
Yeah, he calls them way worse moms.
Way worse moms. And I think for anybody listening, sometimes you just need that perspective to realize, you know what? I might not be perfect, but I'm definitely not in that category.
So let's get into some of these examples. First up, we've got hamster moms. Now, hamster moms seem cute and cuddly, right?
Right. You think of them as these, little furry creatures that are just, kind of scurrying around in their cages. But sometimes they eat their butt.
Yeah, they just straight up.
Yeah, which is, talk about a parenting fail, right?
So what's going on there? Is it just like they're hungry kind of thing, or?
Well, there are a lot of theories about why this happens, and Boozan talks about some of these in the book. It could be anything from, vitamin B deficiency in the moms.
Okay.
Sometimes it's stress, if the environment is really stressful for them, if there's not enough food available.
Interesting.
If the litter is too big, maybe they just can't handle that many babies at once, and sometimes it's even just an unfamiliar scent.
Like if a human has touched the babies or something?
Yeah, if the babies have been handled, the mom comes back, she's like, who are these? These don't smell like mine.
Wow. So that's hamster moms for you. So if you've ever, snapped at your kid for, spilling their juice, you're doing okay.
You're doing all right.
All right. Next up, we have giraffe moms. Now, giraffes, they always seem so graceful. They're so tall.
Right. They've got those long necks and those long legs that just kind of glide across the savannah.
But when their babies are born, it's not quite so graceful.
No, it's actually kind of brutal because the baby is born, from a pretty good height.
Like 6 feet.
6 feet, yeah. It's a big drop.
And then the mom, what does she do? She kicks the baby.
Kicks the baby, to get it up and moving.
Which again seems kind of harsh, but I guess when you think about it.
Yeah, when you think about the context, right?
They're out there on the African savannah. There's lions. There's cheetahs. There's hyenas.
There's all kinds of predators that would love to snack on a baby giraffe so that mom's going to get that baby up and running as quickly as possible.
It's survival.
Yeah, it's not about being gentle and cuddly. It's about making sure that your offspring can, get away from danger.
So there you go. If you've ever, given your kid a little nudge to hurry them along.
Yeah.
You're not a bad parent. You're just
doing what you got to do.
All right. Next, we've got Dracula and Queens. Now, these guys are really interesting because forget about hiding your favorite treats. Dracula and Queens actually feed on the blood of their own larvae.
And they're not even subtle about it. There are visible marks on the larva where the queen has been feeding.
So how does this work? They're not like actually sucking blood, are they?
Well, it's not exactly like vampires, sinking their fangs in, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
So the larvae, they have this fluid called hemolymph, which is kind of like the insect version of blood.
Right.
And the queen will actually make little cuts in the larva's skin and then lapped up the hemolymph.
And the larvae, they're okay with this?
Well, it doesn't kill them, but it does leave those marks, like I said.
Interesting. So is it like a nutritional thing? Is she just hungry, or is there some other reason?
Scientists think it's actually a pretty efficient way for the queen to get a lot of nutrients quickly. The hemolymph is already pre-digested, so she doesn't have to do a lot of work to break it down.
So it's like a protein shake for ant queens.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's interesting because even when there's other food available in the colony, the queen seems to prefer this method.
So there you go, Dracula ant queens. They're not exactly winning any Mother of the Year awards, but hey, at least they're keeping their colony alive.
Exactly. It's all about perspective.
All right, next up, we've got sexton beetle moms. Now, if you thought Dracula ants were weird, wait till you hear about these guys. Sexton beetle moms raise their young inside a decomposing animal carcass.
Yeah, and we're not talking like roadkill on the side of the road. We're talking like a whole dead mouse or a bird.
So they're basically using a dead body as a nursery.
Pretty much, and they're very particular about it too. They actually bury the carcass, clean it up, and then they coat it with these antimicrobial secretions to try to slow down the decomposition process.
So they're not just like tossing their babies in there and saying good luck.
No, they're actually putting some effort into making it, somewhat habitable.
So what do the babies eat?
Well, that's the thing. The babies actually eat the carcass itself. It's like their all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh, wow. So they're like little decomposers.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even weirder. If the carcass is too small to feed all of the larvae, the mom will actually kill some of her offspring.
Show what?
Yeah, she'll cull the litter to make sure that the remaining ones have enough food to survive.
That's brutal.
It is, but I guess in the insect world, that's just how it goes. Sometimes resources are scarce and you have to make tough decisions.
So there you go. Sexton beetle moms. They might be raising their kids in a dead body, but at least they're making sure that some of them survive.
It's all about survival of the fittest.
All right, let's move on to eagle moms. Now, eagles are known for being these fierce, powerful birds, soaring through the sky.
Yeah, they're often seen as a symbol of freedom and strength.
But when it comes to parenting, they can be pretty ruthless.
Yeah, there's this thing called siblicide, which basically means that the siblings kill each other.
And this happens with eagles.
It does. It's not in every nest, but it's fairly common. So what happens is the first chick to hatch is usually bigger and stronger than the second chick. And this bigger chick will often start to bully the smaller chick, pecking at it and trying to push it out of the nest.
And the parents, they just let this happen.
Sometimes they'll intervene, but other times they seem to just let it play out.
Wow, so it's like a survival of the fittest kind of thing.
Exactly. Only the strongest chick gets to survive.
It's kind of sad, but I guess that's nature.
Yeah, nature can be pretty harsh.
All right, what about panda moms? They seem so cuddly and adorable, but I hear they can be pretty bad moms too.
Well, they're not exactly known for their stellar parenting skills.
So what's the deal with them?
First of all, the fathers play absolutely no role in raising the cubs. It's all on the mom.
Okay.
And even then, panda moms can have a tough time providing enough nourishment for their cubs. Pandas eat mostly bamboo, which is not exactly a high-energy food, so their milk production can be low.
Oh, I see.
And then there's the whole accidental crushing thing.
Accidental crushing? What do you mean?
Well, pandas are not exactly known for their grace, and sometimes they accidentally roll over on their cubs and crush them.
Oh.
Yeah. It's sad, but it happens. And then if they have twins, it gets even worse.
How so?
Well, panda moms often just abandon one of the twins.
So you just leave it to die?
Yeah, they can't handle raising two cubs at once, so they just focus on the stronger one.
That's heartbreaking.
It is, and even with human intervention in captive breeding programs, the weaker twin often doesn't make it.
So yeah, panda moms, they might be cute, but they're not exactly winning any Mother of the Year awards either.
No, definitely not.
All right, let's talk about koala moms. Now, koala moms do something pretty interesting, or I guess you could say gross, depending on your perspective. They feed their babies their own poop.
I know it sounds weird, right? But there's actually good reason for it.
Okay, I'm listening.
So koalas eat eucalyptus leaves, which are actually toxic to their babies.
What?
Yeah, the baby koala's digestive systems can't handle the toxins in the leaves.
So how do they survive?
Well, that's where the poop comes in. The mother koala's digestive system neutralizes the toxins in the leaves, and then she produces this special kind of poop called pap. Yeah, it's kind of like a pre-digested version of the eucalyptus leaves, and it also contains all sorts of beneficial bacteria and nutrients that the baby koala needs.
So they're basically getting a prebiotic smoothie from their mom's poop.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the most appetizing image, but it's essential for the baby koala's survival.
So there you go. If you've ever felt grossed out by something your kid has eaten, just remember the koala moms and their poop.
It could always be worse.
All right, let's talk about Lanyu skink moms. Now, these guys are pretty extreme. They actually eat their own eggs.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you see every day.
So why do they do that?
Well, it seems like it's a self-preservation thing.
Okay.
So Lanyu skinks, they lay their eggs and then they guard them for a while. But if they sense that a predator is nearby, like a snake, They might actually eat their own eggs.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they're saying, well, if I can't save my eggs, I might as well get some nutrition out of them.
And deny the predator a meal.
Exactly. It's a pretty drastic measure, but it makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint.
Yeah. Wow. So land use skink moms, they're not messing around.
No, they're definitely not.
Right. What about quokka moms? Now, quokkas are those adorable little marsupials that are always smiling.
Yeah, they're known for being very friendly and photogenic.
But when it comes to protecting their young, they have a pretty unusual method. They actually eject their babies from their pouches.
Yeah, it's not exactly what you expect from a cuddly little animal like that.
So how does this work?
Well, when a quokka mom is being chased by a predator, she can actually relax the muscles around her pouch and the baby will just kind of fall out.
And the predator goes for the baby.
Yeah, it's like a distraction technique. The baby becomes the bait and the mom can hopefully escape.
Wow, so it's like sacrificing one baby to save the mom.
It's a pretty harsh reality, but it's a survival strategy that has worked for quokkas for a long time.
So there you go, quokka moms. They might be cute, but they're not afraid to use their babies as a shield.
All in the name of survival.
All right, let's talk about cuckoo moms. Now, cuckoo moms are the ultimate cheats of the bird world.
Yeah, they're known for their brood parasitism, which is a fancy way of saying that they lay their eggs in other birds' nests.
So they just trick other birds into raising their babies.
Exactly, and they're very good at it too. They'll often choose nests of birds that are smaller than them, and they'll lay eggs that look very similar to the host bird's eggs.
So the host birds have no idea.
Nope, they just think they've laid a slightly larger egg.
And then what happens?
Well, the cuckoo chick usually hatches first, and then it proceeds to push the other eggs or chicks out of the nest.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, and the host birds are none the wiser. They just keep feeding and caring for the cuckoo chick as if it were their own.
So the cuckoo mom gets to have babies without doing any of the work.
Yep, it's the ultimate parenting hack.
That's pretty amazing. I gotta give them credit for that.
It's definitely a clever strategy.
All right, what about harp seal moms? Now, harp seal moms seem very devoted to their pups at first, but it turns out it's all an act.
While they do provide a lot of care for their pups for the first few weeks of their lives, they feed them this really rich milk and they keep them warm and protected, but then after about 12 days, they just abandon them.
What?
Yeah, they just leave their pups on the ice floes and head off to mate again.
And the pups are just left there to fend for themselves.
Pretty much, they have to rely on their fat reserves to survive until they can learn to hunt on their own.
Wow, that's harsh.
It is, and a lot of the pups don't make it. It's a very high mortality rate.
So harp seal moms, they're all about tough love.
That's one way to put it.
All right, and finally, let's talk about Alaskan plover parents. Now, these guys take the cake when it comes to abandoning their young coke. They actually leave their newly hatched chicks to migrate to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's one of the longest migrations of any bird species.
So they just fly off and leave their babies behind.
Pretty much, the chicks have to figure out how to survive on their own.
That's incredible. I mean, how do the chicks even know where to go?
Well, it's instinct. They're born with this innate drive to migrate south.
Wow, so plover parents, they're not exactly winning any Parent of the Year awards either.
All right. No, they're definitely not. But hey, at least they get to spend the winter in Hawaii.
So there you have it. A whole bunch of examples of moms in the animal kingdom that are way worse than you.
And dads, too, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The book also talks about some pretty bad dads.
Like male pipefish who can actually control the nutrients that go to their developing embryos, and they'll sometimes starve the weaker embryos to death.
Wow.
And then there are horse stallions who will sometimes kill the foals of other stallions.
That's brutal.
It is, but it's all about ensuring that their own genes are passed on.
So yeah, dads can be pretty bad too.
It's not just a mom thing.
So the next time you're feeling guilty about your parenting, just remember all of these examples.
And take comfort in the fact that you're doing a much better job than a hamster mom who eats her babies, or a giraffe mom who kicks her calf, or a plover parent who abandons their chicks to fly to Hawaii.
You're doing great.
You are.
So that was There Are Moms Way Worse Than You by Glenn Boozan.
Bestsellers in minutes right here on Bookkast.
For Bookkast, I'm Paul Hint.
And I'm Sarah. Until next time.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, what other crazy parenting strategies are out there in the animal kingdom? And how do we even define what good parenting is?
Yeah, it's all relative, I guess.